Hi, and welcome to another special holiday cookie edition of Center Stage Sweets. Today we are honoring the classic Christmas musical, Irving Berlin's White Christmas. It is just the perfect holiday story. It's a great old movie starring Bing Crosby. It's where, of course, the classic song White Christmas comes from, and it features a bunch of other fabulous songs from the Irving Berlin songbook. It tells the story of two army buds who go with a couple of performing sisters and they try to help save their old colonel's resort. And it's just a fun, feel-good musical, and it's great for the holidays. Highly recommend both the film or a staged version if you get to see it. So because it's such a classic, I also wanted to make a classic cookie today, and so we're gonna make ginger snaps. So to get started, I have 1 stick of unsalted butter, a 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening. And the reason we do both is that the butter makes the cookies spread more, but having that little bit of shortening for the fat will actually help tighten them up a little bit so they don't get paper thin. They still have a nice little body to them. And then we also have 1 cup of brown sugar. Today I'm actually using dark brown sugar. I've made this recipe before with light brown sugar, but I actually kind of like the extra richness from the extra molasses that you get with the dark brown sugar. But if you don't want it to be that dark in flavor, you can totally go with the light and it'll taste just as good. So let's get started on creaming our sugar and butter. Every time with this particular mixture, you're gonna wanna make sure that you knock the batter out or the dough out of your beaters each time, just because if they get full and stuck, they won't continue mixing properly. So definitely be sure to clean them off in between each addition today. Next thing we're gonna add in is 1 egg. I'm gonna give that a quick mix. Again, quick little clean off. And then we're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of molasses. And a little trick that I have discovered with molasses for myself, it's very, very sticky. And sometimes when you're pouring it, like you get a lot of extra on the lip as you're pouring it out of your jar. I found that if after I'm done pouring, I immediately grab a paper towel that's damp with warm water and just wipe it off, it stops me from having the issue where the next time I wanna go open my jar of molasses, it's sealed shut because the molasses is dried on it. So just a fun little tip for the kitchen. So really make sure you use like a small spatula or spoon to get all of the molasses out of your measuring cup too, because as we know, molasses is slow and it's sticky, so it does take a little bit of extra work to get it out, but you don't want to miss out on that flavor. And so to make sure we get all of it too, just gonna give our spatula a little scrape on the side of our beaters and then give it a whirl. Perfect. So the next thing we're gonna do is add in our dry ingredients. So I've already sifted together 2 1/4 cups of flour. And then here's where the what I call the snappy part comes in, because these ginger snaps are actually a chewy ginger snap, but it's the flavor that's snappy. So like I said, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then 2 heaping teaspoons of both cinnamon and ginger, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and 3/4 teaspoons of cloves. I will say with the cloves, I kind of underserve that those 3/4 of a teaspoon each time I scoop it out, just because sometimes the cloves can be just a little overpowering. But if you really like that flavor, feel free to, fill them right up to the top of those measuring spoons. So we're gonna add the dry ingredients in about 3 additions until it's fully incorporated. Got all of our dry ingredients in now. I'm just gonna push this dough out of the beaters and then just give it one last mix around to make sure we get everything. I'm actually gonna take the spatula around the bowl too to make sure any bits that are stuck to the bottom that maybe aren't quite incorporated in have a chance to come to the top. So I'm just gonna quick check. So every once in a while there's that bit of flour or butter that's still under there that just doesn't quite get the attention of the beaters that the stuff on top does. So just give that a quick bring to the top. Scrape off our spatula to make sure all that goodness stays in our cookie dough. And one last spin. All right. So now, after I clean off my beaters for the last time, we are actually going to chill this dough in the refrigerator for 2 hours. You can chill it overnight too if your schedule, doesn't allow you to make it all in one night with chilling for 2 hours. It'll be totally fine in the refrigerator overnight. Just make sure it is covered. This bowl actually nicely comes with a cover, but some saran wrap or aluminum foil will do just fine as well. So into the fridge this goes, and we'll see you in 2 hours. Our dough has chilled in the refrigerator for 2 hours, so now we are ready to start rolling out our balls of cookie dough. So if you have a smaller scoop, you can use that. That would be the perfect size. Mine actually broke from making too many cookies, so I'm gonna use a spoon. And I'm just gonna take a small amount of the dough and form it into a ball. And let's see, what's the size of that one? It looks pretty good. And then once I've got my ball formed, you can see it's actually pretty tiny. I'm just gonna roll it in some granulated sugar, and I have about 3 to 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar to roll them in, and we're just gonna keep going. And if you don't have a scoop, I always like to keep that ball out as like a test one, just so that you can kind of measure it up. So after I roll out this one, I'll show you. You can kind of hold it up, see it's about close enough. So just keep on rolling. So our first tray is done. I'm actually gonna make one more ball of cookie dough just so that I can make sure before I pop these in the oven that the rest of the ones I make are about the right size. A pinch more. And now they're good to go in the oven. The oven has been preheated to 350 degrees, and these are gonna go in for 10 to 12 minutes. So we'll see you when they come out of the oven. Our cookies have all gone through the oven, they've cooled on a wire rack, and now they are ready to eat. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to help keep the oven on, you can become a Patreon supporter. For more tips, tricks, and recipes like this, please visit us at centerstagesweets.com. Happy holidays!